Right here, out. Protect them out. We put the work in. Let's finish. Come on, man. Let's do this. Family, I'll do 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
You see, we dream chase, cause that's all we was given to start with. Then we realized the dream was obtainable. Now look at us.
What's going on, Eagles Nation and TMTP family? Welcome to the Main Thing Podcast presents. It's your boy, Mr. Owens, and after further review, the call stands. I'm still official with no stripes.
What up, Eagles family? This is your man, Big Huss, the one you trust, bringing you all your Philadelphia Eagles latest. Hey, man, I hope everybody had a great weekend. I know I did. I know Mr. Owens did. We got a special video coming to y'all today. This will be our 100th video.
Yes.
So, me and Mr. Owens kind of wanted to kind of reminisce here a bit, you know, discuss our Super Bowl teams, the 2017 victory, the 2024 victory, and the teams themselves. We'll kind of do a little comparing which teams will take at different positions, kind of just, you know, play with it a little bit. Have fun today. We'll have some fun today. But before we get into that, Mr. Owens wants to holler at you. So,
to our loyal supporters, welcome back to the community. To our new supporters, welcome to the community and the family. Make sure you guys and girls continue liking these videos. Flood those comment sections. Remember to share and subscribe to the content and the community. And last but not least, don't forget to turn on the notification bells so you don't miss when we drop this pressure on y'all, all right?
you heard him. You heard him. Hey, go do that. Go. Stop playing. Go do that.
Right now.
Right now. Yeah, but no. So, like I said, 100th video. Want to do a little something fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, what you want to start with? Which year? 2017. You want to start with the most recent?
I'll say let's start with 2017. Let's go 2017 quarterbacks. 2017, 2024 quarterbacks.
I bet that better. Yeah. Well, as we know, 2017 quarterback for majority of the season, at least, was Carson Wentz. If you know, you know, my man was straight balling that year. Despite how his career panned out in 2017, he was him. Had 33 touchdowns, I believe, 7 interceptions. Honestly, really should have won MVP of that year. He missed 4 games due to an injury. I believe it was versus Seattle.
No, the Rams.
The Rams. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Diving in, end zone joint, kind of got his leg buckled up. Big. I knew it was one of them NFC West teams, you know. But he misses the last, 3-4 games.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, you know, Eagles fans, analysts, we were like, oh, my God, the season is done. You know, but you insert Nick Foles, and we all know what happened from there. But up to that point, Carson Wentz was working, y'all. It was magic. It was magic. You got to think our line wasn't as good as it is now. Mm-hmm. So there were times where he got folks around. I remember, I believe it was the Redskins,
Commanders.
Yep, around his, like he tossing them. I'm like, oh my God, this guy
coming after him, and they do. And he's in trouble. Wentz will be escaping from the 18-yard line. How in the world did that happen? First down out to the 44-yard line. Was he down? Where did he go?
Right. So he was going off. But then you turn around, like I said, you had Jalen Hurts. Maybe it wasn't the highlight plays, but hey, QB1 gets it done. Bigger the moment, bigger the man. You know what I'm saying? Straight up to the tune of a Super Bowl victory. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's one of those guys. We all know that the stats might not ever be gaudy. He might not ever be that 4,000 yard passer, 4,500 yard passer, you know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be, 40 passing touchdowns. That might not be him. But when the moments are there and the plays need to be had, QB1 puts on the big boy pants and he goes and takes that walk. I'm here. I'm here for it. You know, so that can't go without saying. It's just his impact and what he means to this team and what he's done. So y'all don't hate me. Y'all know it's the Main Thing podcast, you know. But if I'm just going head to head on the regular season note, I would have to go with Carson Wentz for the quarterbacks if we're taking QBs. Straight up.
Oh, okay.
And that's tough for me to say because QB1, you my dog. Like straight up.
Keep the main thing, bro.
You feel me? You feel me?
But I mean, look, I gotta agree with you, Huss. Simply off the fact 2017, as you mentioned, Carson Wentz played at an MVP level. He was playing out of his mind. The first 10 weeks of the season, week 11, as we mentioned, he got injured against the Los Angeles Rams. But as you mentioned, he threw 33 touchdowns, had 7 interceptions. He had a 60.2 completion percentage, averaged 7.5 yards per attempt, and had a 101.9 QBR. QBR, for those who aren't familiar, is the quarterback rating that quarterbacks receive throughout the game. Now, with Carson Wentz being injured in that game against the Rams, we all know what happened. Nick St. Jolly, Swole Pole Foles, BDN, whatever you want to call him. He came in against the after the LA Rams. He came in against the Giants, threw for 237 yards. Then came in that Christmas game against Oakland, threw for 163 yards. So we kind of were a little hesitant. We knew that we had a solid offensive core in place where if Nick Foles can just come in and manage the game, not give too many turnovers to the other team, that we had a solid chance of winning the Super Bowl that year. Now, this is where the legend of Nick Foles, the shrine, the whole nine, was being built for him. He went 23 of 30 with a 76.7 completion percentage, 246 yards, 8.2 yards per attempt, 0 touchdowns against the Atlanta Falcons in the divisional round, because of course we all know that year we had a different route than what we did this previous year. 2017, we had the number 1 seed locked up, so everybody had to come through Philly regardless of the outcomes of the other playoff games. Then in the NFC Championship game, that's when Nick Foles broke out of his shell. He was 26 for 33, 78.8 completion percentage, a 10.7 yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns, and threw the ball 352 yards. For 352 yards. That's the one where everybody was hitting Foles.
Well, here in Philadelphia, they're doing the skull, at least hand motion with the chant, but they've changed the word to fold with regard to that.
After the play was over,
he was snapping in that game, going crazy in that game. Then the biggest of them all, you go against the mighty Tom Brady. Everybody, I don't care if you were hiding under a rock, everybody knows who Tom Brady is. Everybody knows that Tom Brady is one of the best quarterbacks to ever lace up a pair of cleats. To go toe-to-toe with Tom Brady, the GOAT, in the Super Bowl and hold your own speaks volumes, and why Nick Foles in the city of Philadelphia will forever be a legend. Now, in that game in the Super Bowl, he went 28 for 43, had a 65.1 completion percentage, 8.7 yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and threw for 373 yards to the tune of a 41-33 victory. Now, come on, y'all know what it is to clinch the first Super Bowl. And I don't think that in Eagles history, any quarterback has played in the playoffs with those type of stats ever. Nick Foles, I think, has had the best 3 games, because you remember we're talking off camera because that was only 3 games that Nick Foles played in the playoffs. And he threw the ball 106 times, completing 77 passes for a 72.6 completion percentage, had 971 yards. Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all don't understand, he almost had 1,000 yards in 3 games. Almost 1,000 yards in 3 games. That's crazy. That's video game numbers.
Hey, and you're the backup. It's not like you've been the starter. You were the backup. Like we were talking about, damn near 75% of the season, you weren't even playing. So to be
Wasn't playing
in that, man, and that's on that stage.
Come on now, to throw what 9.2 yards per attempt, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, and have a 115.7 QBR rating.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Nick Foles did magic that season. Again, he went against Tom Brady head to head. He didn't flinch. He didn't bat an eye. Every time Tom Brady made a play, Nick Foles came back and made a play to the tune of catching the you want Philly?
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Philly special. Ready?
And they're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown. How do you figure?
You feel me? Catching. Tom Brady dropped the pass in the Super Bowl. Nick Foles came through. Nick Foles could not do any wrong in that playoff run at all. Nick Foles was that guy that season. Now, as you mentioned, QB1, we love QB1. Don't get it messed up. QB1 is our franchise quarterback. Now, in the regular season, he threw for 2,903 yards, had an 8 yards per attempt, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 103.7 rating. But as we mentioned off camera, because when we were talking, we got to take into consideration and factor in the fact that this was a run-heavy, dominated offense. So, of course, back in 2017 with Dougie P, we used to air the ball out.
Hey, if I'm not mistaken, it was about 34 times a game we were throwing the ball with Dougie P in 2017.
As opposed to Jalen throwing about 23, 24 times.
Yeah.
But then, as you mentioned, the brighter the lights get, the better QB1 plays. He doesn't shy away from the bright lights. Now, his playoff numbers, he was 65 for 91, 71.4 completion percentage, 726 yards, 8 yards per attempt, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 108.6 QBR. But then also the Super Bowl stats against another GOAT. He was 17 to 22, 77.3 completion percentage, 221 yards, 10 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT, and a 119.7 QBR rating. Now, again, QB1, when we need him to make the big plays in the big moments, big time players make big time plays in big time moments. He does that. But again, if we're going strictly off of seasons, 2017, I believe, wins that battle. But then also, Huss, as you mentioned, you brought up a good point when we were talking off camera. We have to factor in QB1's rush yards as well.
Yeah.
Now, Carson Wentz, he had a couple little rushes. Nick Foles, that's not his strong suit. But QB1, if he's not throwing the football, he is affecting and impacting the game in some form or fashion, whether that be, like I said, throwing the football or running the football. But again, if we have to go just solely off of season, I'll give it to 2017.
Yeah, nah, gotta be 2017. That truly was an MVP year for Carson Wentz. I mean, outside of the Nick Foles run, which was a miracle, that shit was crazy. For real. The Carson Wentz regular season, dude, He was snapping, y'all.
He was.
He could have easily had 40 touchdowns that year if he didn't get injured.
Mm-hmm.
It still probably would have been under 10 interceptions.
Yeah, and you also got to factor in not only the injury, not the injury history, but the injury that Carson Wentz suffered. It was a lot of times in that season where we were blowing teams out, and Carson Wentz was sick the whole second half as well.
Very true. Very true. We had a couple times Jalen did that this year, but it wasn't to the tune of that year where we were really blowing teams out. We were getting up on teams early in 2017, you know. But nah. So moving on now, running backs. Oh boy. So we already know what it is for this year. Say 2K, okay? Like straight up. 2017, even though I liked our running backs in 2017, I ain't gonna act like I didn't, man. You had LeGarrette Blount. That's my dog.
You ain't gonna hit that Blount.
Okay. Jay Ajayi, you had Corey Corey Clement. Was Smallwood on that roster?
Yep, you had Wendell Smallwood and
for a little
Kenyon Barner.
Yep. Right. So you don't have the big name, the Saquon Barkley name, right? But it was a good running back by committee there where you had Blount, who gave you around 766 yards, Jay Ajayi with us rush for around 408 yards. We had just talked about it because we were doing our research or whatever, and Mr. Owens had brought it to my attention that he rushed for 800-some yards, and we were kind of lost. It was half the season was with Miami, so he had some rushing yards there, and then, the rest was with Philadelphia. So, but he rushed for 400-some yards with us. CC rushed for 300 yards, about 320. Carson gave us around 300. When Smallwood gave us about $174. So I done listed about 5 names just now. Yeah, I mean, everybody was getting involved in the running game there, as opposed to the home run hitter where, I'm saying Saquon, but you also had Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts rushed for, I believe, over 600 yards in the regular season. Just off, and I believe, and Kenny Gainwell might have rushed for.
Kenny Gainwell rushed for 290.
I was about to say 300. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's 2024 all day. Off the simple fact, it was a historic year. You know what I'm saying? Saquon really could have broken the record if we didn't choose to sit him later in the season. And we rushed for a whole 1,000 more yards. I believe the 2017 team rushed for like around 2,100 yards or so, versus the 24 Eagles where they rushed for well over 3,000. And we were right behind the Ravens. We were second in rushing. And I believe the Ravens were like maybe 37 or 38 yards rushing. We were like 30, mid 3,000s or whatever. But Saquon was getting off. Jalen was getting off. It was just what Saquon did coming in first year, the impact that he had on this team. I haven't seen that really probably since we brought in Terrell Davis. Or not going to be Terrell Owens. I mean, the impact, we needed a receiver. We didn't have it. He came right in year one. We're in the Super Bowl. Now, granted, we didn't win it for various reasons. We ain't going to go into that. But but the impact that he had, I mean, it was crazy. Bum ankle in the Super Bowl. You go what? I think it was like 9 catches for like 120
$150 or something like that.
Bro, he was getting off. He was getting off one ankle. Like that's the Saquon effect to me. Like you had to respect it. In the playoffs alone, I believe my man rushed for close to 500 yards. Like, so yeah, 2024 running back group, not even close. Not
See,
even close.
this one had me going back and forth because we talked about this off camera. I kept flip flopping back and forth, and it was a key word that you said, the group. Now, if we're going strictly off a group, 2017, as you mentioned, had the three-headed monster, the running back by committee with Blount, Ajayi, and CC. Now, as you mentioned, you have Blount with 766 yards, 4.43 average, 2 touchdowns. Ajayi 400 yards and some change, 4.20 average, 1 touchdown. And then your third string running back gives you 74 carries for 321 yards, 4.34 average, and 4 touchdowns. That's doing some work in the backfield. The fact that your number 3 running back, as I mentioned, can give you those type of stat line. Now, when we switch over to 2024, again, it was the Saquon Barkley show, running over 2,000 yards, a 5.81 average, 13 touchdowns. Just him alone beats the 2017 team combined. Just alone, just beats them combined. Even though 2017 ain't no slouch, we ain't trying to poo on them and laugh at them like, they was
toting that year.
Yeah, they was toting that year. You see what I'm saying? I feel the difference between 2017 and 2024 as far as the running back room was more of a balance. 2017 had more balance than 2024. Of course, this was the Saquon show running the football. And then, as you mentioned, QB1 adding his yards on the ground as well. But then after Saquon and QB1, it's a major drop off. As much as we love Kenny Gainwell and hope that he does well with the Steelers and the rest of his football career, as Big Hudson I mentioned, he only had 290 yards with a 3.87 average and 1 touchdown. Then you go to the third running back, which is Will Shipley, who had 30 carries for 82 yards and had a 2.73 average. So y'all see the major drop off from Saquon to our number 2 running back and our number 3 running back, as opposed to 2017, where you can have Blunt tote the rock for a little bit, then Ajayi come in, it's no drop off, and then CC coming in on third downs and it's no drop off. But off the sheer fact of talent alone, Saquon being the AP Offensive Player of the Year should have, shame on y'all, should have been an MVP of the NFL.
Absolutely.
He single-handedly was breaking records. Not to forget a lot of that. I mean, we know Saquon is a special talent. He's a generational talent. But then that could not have been done alone without the line that we have. And we're going to get into that. But, of course, the O-line here helped drastically. But what Saquon did this year is hard to deny that the 2024 running back room was better than the 2017. Even though I do like that 2017 team, though, bro. Because you got to think. Even I remember the play when CC made that big old catch in the back of the end zone from Foles when he threw that dime.
6. That line does a good job. The pass into the end zone, and it is Corey Clement. Yes, touchdown.
Oh man!
Come on, man!
Dropped the dot on the ball.
Come on, man!
It was a great catch by CC. I ain't even no boy had hands like that.
Come on now! Hey, where he from? Where he from, Hus?
Jersey. Y'all know the vibes. Y'all know what it is.
But yeah, Hus, that definitely, I agree with you on that. 2024 definitely takes the cake.
Got to. Now, moving on to our receivers now. 2017, that room was who?
You had Alshon.
Alshon, Nelly, Torrey Smith, a young Mac Hollins, who's actually turned into a decent receiver with the Bills, which is crazy, you know.
And then the depth pieces were Shelton Gibson, the receiver out of West Virginia, and then Marcus Johnson, the receiver out of Texas.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2024, AJ, Swole Batman. You got Devontae Smith, Skinny Batman. And then we have Jahan Dotson, Little Batman. Nah, we'll see how that turns out. But that's kind of and then we have what, Johnny Wilson
And Anaya Smith
and Anaya Smith.
and Braden Covey, if you want to add him into.
But we'll add him because he was on the roster at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once again, and you'll notice this a lot with the 2017 team, there was some depth there. Shoot, I mean, I'm not going to count Zach Ertz. He was our leading receiver that year, but Nelson Aguilar.
And was assisting people down. My man just started throwing babies out the window. We was catching them, unlike Aguilar and his mishaps. I like to put that out there.
Despite everything, he was our third receiver, 768 yards. Alshon Jeffrey, big 17, 789 yards. Torrey Smith, 430 yards. A young Mac Holland, 226 yards. Right? I'm not going to go on them Johnson and Gibson. They ain't really give us too much, but I'd have just listed 3-4 players that really contributed. And look, Nelly had 8 touchdowns. Alshon had 9 touchdowns. Torrey had 2. Mac had 1. Right? Everybody was kind of getting in the mix there. That's kind of what I liked about that 2017 team. You really couldn't just, hey, man, we're going to key on this guy, because if you do that, Nelly can have a good game. Torrey can start making plays. I mean, we had a really good mix of players there, size, speed. They could all do different things. You had Nelly on the gadget play. We had talked off camera. One of the plays I like about Nelly, where he mixed my man up in the phone booth versus the Cardinals on the sideline, goes into the
The blitz is on, and Wentz has time and floats it for Aguilar, who makes the catch on the run. Nelson Aguilar puts a move on, and yes, that's an Eagles touchdown.
Oh my God, Nelly is disgusting, right? He's going nuts. Like it was by far Nelson Aguilar's best year for her, like hands down. But then you go to the 2024 team. Man, Swole Batman, he's him. He is a talent. You're talking about big, physical, fast, short-handed, good route runner, great run after catch. He comes in his first year with us, he's breaking records. Right? He's breaking receiving records. First year with us. He's going off. And then you add Devontae Smith to the mix. You look at him, he's wiry, he ain't gonna give you nothing. He's a silent killer. Slim Reaper. That's what they call the guy, Slim Reaper. He goes out there, he gives you 1,000 yards. So since you have 2 truthfully bona fide receivers where it's no drop off. There's 1A, AJ. 1B, Devontae. And Devontae can start on more than
28, 29 teams.
Other teams. He would be the number 1 receiver. Yeah, I mean, as opposed to, once again, you go back 2017, you might not have that big name. The big name, as far as the receivers might have went, is Alshon.
Alshon
would be the big name. And look, Alshon was a dog receiver coming from the Bears. He was him. But these two, the impact that they have in the crucial moments, Devontae Smith versus Jaguars, back of the joint, one-handed, like what?
Coach, and they didn't like that one. 3rd and 22. Hurts looking end zone for Smith, and makes the adjustment. Did he get the feet in? Touchdown! What a catch!
This is absurd. These players are, it's nasty. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what they do and what they give, truthfully, on a consistent basis, those two are they can both be labeled Mr. Consistent as well. The moment's never too big. I'm gonna have to go with 2024, man. It's just these receivers are different. You can honestly say on the trajectory that they could be considered maybe for some Hall of Fame type talk, and even more, as crazy as this may sound, even more so Devontae than AJ. And when I'm only saying this from when you look at Devontae Smith's closet and those accolades, what he's done from high school all the way up to now, look, Devontae got a nice ass resume. You know what I'm saying? And AJ's putting that together as well. Highlight reel after highlight reel. And you add rings to it. Hope we get a few more, kind of solidify their career. You're looking at potentially 2 Hall of Fame receivers if they can keep this up. So it's 2024 for me. That's no slight to that group. I love 2017 group. Straight up.
Mm-hmm. And I can see that trajectory for Swole Batman and Skinny Batman for sure. As far as Hall of Fame. Now, 2017, of course, us went over. We had Alshon, Torrey Smith, Nelson Aguilar, Mac Hollins. That group was more balanced. Again, that's the word again, balanced. Because even though Alshon, as you mentioned, had 9 tight ends, Nelly had 8, Torrey had 2, Mac had 1. That's 4 receivers. Even though Alshon was AJ before AJ.
Right. Sideline ball at the 34. Off play action. Going for it all into the end zone, and it is caught. Alshon Jeffrey for the touchdown.
Right.
Again, you mentioned Nelly had his best season historically, even still to this day, even with him leaving and playing with Baltimore and everything like that. That is Nelson Aguilar's best season. And he's been in the league, what did we say, since 2015? We took him with our first round out of USC. Yep. But it's very hard because Alshon was the big body receiver, the possession receiver that made the plays. Torrey was supposed to be the veteran deep threat that stretched the field. And then Nelly was the underneath, like you said, we used him in a lot of motions and try to get the defense to be off balance. But when you come over to AJ and Smitty, we, as you said, it's 1A, 1B. AJ had 1,079 yards, a 16.10 average with 7 tight ends. Smitty had 833 yards with a 12.25 average and 8 tight ends. It's no drop off with them. Yeah. Now, the only drop off is once you go from the third receiver down. Yeah. Once you start to get to Jahan Dotson, Anaya Smith, and Johnny Wilson, that's the only drop off. Right. Again, 2017 was more balanced, but if you had to put your money, if you had one game where you either had the 2017 wide receivers or you had the 2024 wide receivers, and you need those boys to make some plays, we're putting our money on 2024. 2017, it ain't no slight. Torrey, I believe, made a couple plays. I think he made a big first down conversion that we needed in that game. And then also Nelly had a solid game. But when you look to your left and you got AJ Brown out there, and then you look to your right and you got Devontae Smith out there, I like our odds with them against any receiver. You see what I'm saying? And in 2017, Alshon did get off, but he was the only receiver. Well, him and Nelly were the only 2 receivers that I felt, okay, they can continuously win their matchups.
You got to remember, Nelly was working out the slot that year.
Out the slot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
he was working out the slot.
Yeah, he wasn't even on the outside in 2017.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so to be, yeah, because we got to think about it. Even you can put the Jeremy Macklins and a D-Jacks. I'm talking more on duos of wide receivers in Eagles history. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are the best duo of Eagle wide receivers in history. So it's kind of hard to say that and then come back in and say, oh, well, I'll take 2017 over 2024, especially knowing the type of caliber players that we got, the type of plays that they make. As you mentioned, Smitty making a big boy play against the Jags, making a big boy play against the Bengals, against the Chiefs. AJ making a big boy plays all season against the Commanders. In the Super Bowl, it's just too much out here. And at that point, Alshon I would say he was more so a top 10 receiver. In that time, I don't think he was top 5, as opposed to AJ being a top 2, top 3, if not number 1. And then again, people keep disrespecting Smitty. I don't know why they keep playing with him. As you mentioned, all the accolades and hardware that he has, they still disrespect him and put him as the 17th best ranked receiver coming into the 2025 season.
It's crazy.
You're going to tell me he's not top 10, top 15?
Easily top 10.
Come on now. That's diabolical. That's diabolical. But I'll agree with you on this, because 2024 wide receivers do take the cake. They definitely take the cake, bro.
For sure. For sure. For sure. Sure. Like what? All right. So tight ends. We got a 2017. It was Zachy Baby, Trey Burton, my man Selleck. Then 2024, it is Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra. Now look, 2024, Dallas Goedert gave us around 500 yards and 2 tutties.
Mm-hmm.
He missed some games. Grant Calcaterra gave us around 300 yards and 1 tutty. I like what Dallas Goedert gives us when he's available. I mean, that's really his biggest issue. If he was available more, his stats arguably could be better than a lot of tight ends than we've had. But he's just never available. So you go to the guy who is available. Let's go to Zach Ertz. Played in 14 games, had 74 receptions, 824 yards, 8 touchdowns. Ooh, from the tight end. Ooh, crazy.
Disgusting.
Man, you go to Trey Burton, 250 yards. Trey Burton had 5 touchdowns. So just off touchdowns, just off the top of my head, that was 8 plus 5, that's 13. To 2 plus 1, that's 3.
That's 10 more, correct?
If my math is mathing, now I'm gonna have to go with 2017 on this Drake easily. Honestly, I don't even think it's even really a discussion. Like what Zach Ertz was doing, that he was our leading receiver that year.
Mm-hmm.
The offense really went through him. He was Mr. Reliable. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need a first down, Zach Ertz. You needed a touchdown, Zach Ertz. Like, whatever we needed him to do, like you said, and Trey Burton, I don't know if he's really had at least a touchdown success since being with us, because he had got a contract with who? The Bears? After
Bears. Mm-hmm.
And we haven't really heard anything from him.
Now, I don't even think he's in the league anymore.
So, you could arguably say this could be his best year. You know what I mean? You go to Philly play, he'll always be remembered for that. You know what I mean? His role in that. So it's 2017. The impact that the tight end room had, you know what I mean, on that roster, and just, for the success of that season, bringing in a Super Bowl championship, the offense really went through the tight ends at one point.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. So I can't really say that now. The offense goes through Saquon being 2024 season. It goes through Saquon. It goes through AJ. It goes through Jalen. It goes through Smitty. The tight end option is really Dallas is the 5th option on the offense, if you're being honest.
Mm-hmm.
So 2017, not even really a discussion.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that you said that 2024, as you mentioned, Dallas Goedert is our number 1 tight end. But with Goedert, it's not his ability on the field. It's your best ability is availability. And for some reason, Goedert every single season, it's not, he misses 1 or 2 games. Like, all right, we'll be all right. Well, he'll just miss this 1 game against the Raiders, and then we'll have him back next week against the Cowboys. Nah, it's, he's missing the Raiders, Cowboys, Saints, Giants, Chiefs, Commanders, possibly the Cardinals, and then coming back. It's we don't know. Yeah, we don't know with him. But the crazy thing is, tight end wise, Goddard to me has more athleticism than Zach Ertz.
For sure.
Because like when Goddard is healthy, I'm not going to say he's better than Zach Ertz, but you can put him in the same conversation.
He has the ability to be.
Exactly. He definitely has the ability to be on Zach Ertz level. But again, it's the injury history that concerns me with Dallas Goedert, and obviously it doesn't only concern us because it concerns the Philadelphia Eagles as well. Hence why he is only 31 years old. And we just saw George Kittle just get a big payday out in San Francisco, and we do have the money to sign Goddard long term, but it's really the injury part that scares the Eagles from signing him long term. So hopefully this upcoming season he remains healthy and be the top, what I believe he's a top 3 tight end in the NFL, and prove everybody and show everybody what he's capable of doing. Now we move on to Grant Calcaterra. I like Grant. Look, if y'all been watching our channel, obviously this is the 100th video, as we mentioned. Shout out to us and shout out to y'all too. But if y'all been watching this channel, y'all know how we feel about Grant Calcaterra. We like him as a receiving option at tight end, but his blocking is atrocious. All right. I don't know who needs to work with him or what he needs to do, but his run blocking has to get better. Now, switching over to 2017, Zach Ertz. This was prime Zach Ertz. We talked about this offline because this was prime Zach Ertz, where you can line any safety up on him, try to put a linebacker on him. Nobody is guarding him.
He's cooking.
He's eating. What time? What did we say? What time is the cookout?
Like,
put me a plate to the side, bro. If I come a little late,
man, it was
he's
automatic.
cooking.
It was automatic.
Come on now. Any third down conversion we needed, fourth down conversion. Think back in the Super Bowl. We were on our side of the field. I believe it was like 4th and 2 or something like that, and we had to go for it. Nick Foles dropping back. The defensive line's pressuring him. Who frees up? Zach Ertz catches the ball, gets hit, lunges, and gets the first down. Because if Zach Ertz did not get that first down, game was over, bro.
And they go for it. And Foles under pressure throws, caught just enough for the first down. Zach Ertz, forward progress, nets him the first.
Tight ends working together on that one. 2 tight ends on the left, and Ertz coming around the other way. One of the most dependable pass catchers in the National Football League. Didn't drop a pass all season, and when they needed it most, he hangs.
We were going to lose that game if Zach Ertz didn't make that play. And then on the same drive, not only did he convert the 4th down play that we needed, he converted the towel down that we needed on the slant route. Hit the slant route, got inside leverage, caught it, dove across the goal line, ball popped out. He had the wherewithal to notice the ball popped out, trying to find the ball, and said, and still caught it. Because you remember they reviewed that to see if it was going to be a touchdown, to see if it broke the plane.
Ertz out wide, one-on-one.
Clement flares out to the right, caught over the middle and into the end zone. Zach Ertz for the touchdown. And again, all you can think back to now is the Jesse James play. And the whole thing is do you rule him a runner at this point?
Move.
But they call him a runner. He breaks the plane as a runner. If it stays, that's going to be the reason.
I think he was running and diving for the end zone, but what constitutes going to the ground? It's always close. It's subjective.
But it's always, if you're a runner, it's one thing. If you receive it, it's another.
But again, that was prime Zach Ertz, where I think the only tight end probably in the league at that time that was on Zach Ertz level, even though we cannot stand this team and this organization, was Jason Witten. I believe Jason Witten at that time was the only tight end that was in Zach Ertz realm. Because what was that, 2017?
Jason Witten, yeah.
Jason Witten, I believe, still was on the Cowboys at that point.
I don't know if he was on there in 2017.
Let me look real quick.
I don't know if Jason Witten was on that, John.
Jason Witten.
That was more the Gronk era.
That was the Gronk era. You're correct. You're correct. Yeah, so Witten played. So that was towards the end of his career because he was 2003 to 2017 and then came back in 2019. Okay. So that was towards the end of his career. So as you mentioned, that was more of the Gronk era. But even still, yeah, like there wasn't to the point you making, there wasn't many tight ends that you was taking over Zach. Zach was a number one option and would be a number one option once again on a lot of teams during 2017. Because that's also the year. That was towards the end of Antonio Gates' career too, because he played with the Chargers from 2003 to 2018.
Talking about that's two Hall of Fame guys right there.
Two Hall of Fame guys, bro. But like you said, in the prime, it was only Gronk and Zach Ertz at that time. Nobody was touching Zach Ertz.
Oh,
nobody.
What? At one point, Zach Ertz had like 100 receptions in her season. Like,
come on now,
this is a tight end.
And I think he broke a stack in receiving yards one year.
This is a tight end for real. Like prime Zach Ertz, him. We see what he even did this past season. He at the end of his career. Y'all saw what he did up in Washington. Y'all saw what he did against us in 3 games. Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Prime Zach Ertz. I would just off Zach Ertz alone, what he did that season, will rank 2017 better than 2024. But then to add on, like you said, we had Brent Selleck, who he played with us from 2007 to 2017 for 10 seasons. That was his last year playing football and playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. He only had 130 yards, 0 touchdowns. But then, as you mentioned, Trey Burton with the 248 and 5 touchdowns. To get that from a third string tight end, to get that from a former, fun fact, Trey Burton was actually a former quarterback at the University of Florida. Hence why he was put on the Philly special to throw the pass to Nick Foles. But to get that from your third string tight end is wonders. It's not too many teams where you can look at the third tight end and they have close to 300 yards receiving.
Facts.
What did we do for our 2024 tight ends, Huss? We stopped at Grant Calcaterra. We don't have a third tight end that we could put on a list. You see what I'm saying? But just off
Grant Calcaterra was barely on there.
He was barely exactly. You produced 1 touchdown with 300 yards as the number 2 tight end. And we also got to remember, as we mentioned, Goddard was injured for most of the season. So Grant, you were starting a lot of these games, fella. Trey Burton wasn't starting no games. Zach Ertz, old Mr. Reliable, he started every game that season. You see what I'm saying? So if we're just going strictly off of the talent, if we're going strictly off the production and the usage of the tight ends, and Dougie P was creative with the tight ends. Obviously, as we see, we did a lot of heavy 12 personnel that season. I would give the nod to the 2017 tight end room. I take Zach Ertz and Trey Burton over Dallas Goedert and Grant Calcaterra. I definitely do.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. All right. Moving on to this O-line. So we got 2017, Jason Peters, Lane Johnson, Vaitai, Isaac Samalu, Brandon Brooks, Chance Warmack, Jason Kelsey, Steve Wisniewski. Man, that's crazy. That's actually a dog O-line.
Dog O-line.
And then you go to 2024 Eagles, Jordan Mailata, Fred Johnson, Lander Dickerson, Trevor Keegan, Cam Jurgens, Brett Toff, Mekhi Becton, Tyler Steen, Lane Johnson, Darian Kennard.
Mm-hmm.
That's a doggone line right there. So looking at both these Super Bowl teams, they both had some dog old lines. Now, I'm taking the 2024 O-line, and I'm going to tell you why real quick. Because if I recall right, as nice as this 2017 O-line was, a lot of them were hurt. A lot of them did not play a lot of that season. There was a lot of mismatching going on as opposed to the 2024, where we had some injuries along the way, but it wasn't anything major. For the most part, all 5 players damn near played every game. So that's really why I'm going. That's really the only reason why I'm going with the 2024. Because if I'm just going off names alone, it's a push as far as I'm concerned. If I'm just going off names alone, it's a push. As you're talking about Jordan Mailata, he'll be Hall of Fame. Jason Peters, Hall of Fame. Lane Johnson, still there. Isaac Seumalo, he's great. Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Mekhi Becton, Brandon Brooks. Brandon Brooks,
great.
If y'all don't remember, Brandon Brooks,
one of them ones.
You can say probably the best guard we've had here. That can be a conversation.
Yes.
That wouldn't be anything outlandish to say. That guy, and you talking about not an ounce of fat on bull. He Brody up here. Like for real. Different. Not Mekhi Becton big, where Mekhi Becton was massive. This dude was just 330, and I'm swole with it. You know what I'm saying? So it was a little different. And then you know Jason Kelsey, Hall of Fame. So just off names, it's a push, but there were so many injuries. That's another thing that made the 2017 season so great. It wasn't a perfect season. Yeah, we were running it up on folks, but we were hurt a lot that year.
Mm-hmm.
We lost a couple position groups that year. You know what I'm saying? So there were a lot of things to overcome, but 2024 for me, just because, like you just said, the best ability is availability. Those Hawk Mollies were available.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe 4 out of 5 of them made the Pro Bowl.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, they were recognized for their availability and what they did and their abilities. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to their 2017, where just out, I mean, he had to earn his money, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had to earn his money that year.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, with 2017, that was a heck of a line. Of course, we know Jason Peters missed most of the year. He got injured in week 7 against the Commanders. He tore his MCL and ACL. So to add on to your point, that's why we had so many line combinations. Huss, can you believe we had 28 different line combinations used that season?
I believe it. The way
28.
The way we were riddled with injuries that year was ridiculous. We lost whole position groups.
Yes.
At one point, it was crazy.
We was dropping, bro. Literally, we were calling people off the street. I remember every single day, it was a tryout of some random player that was being called into the Eagles facility because it was another injury that occurred. As you mentioned, Jeff Stoutland had to work his magic in 2017 as opposed to 2024. And then it's so funny because a lot of people always talk about how big the line was in 2017, right? So Big V, he was 6'6", 322. Steven Wisniewski was 6'3", 315. Jason Kelsey, 6'3", 282. Brandon Brooks, 6'5", 346. Lane Johnson, 6'6", 310. They finished with the 8th highest pass blocking efficiency rating with the 80.9. And then also that year, as you told them, Big Hus, look up Brandon Brooks if y'all don't know who he is. Brandon Brooks didn't allow a sack that season. Didn't allow a sack that season. And people forgetting we didn't draft Brandon Brooks. We got him from the Houston Texans. We got him from the Houston Texans for cheap on a penny. I don't know how he does it, how he works his magic, but he gets the players that fits this championship culture and adds to the sustained success that we have here in Philadelphia. But Kelsey that year, he had a league high 95.1 run blocking grade. And then they gave up 100 total pressure surrendered. I'm sorry, 154 total pressure surrender. Now, flip over and again, Jason Peters, Hall of Famer. Brandon Brooks easily could have been a Hall of Fame if it wasn't for injuries. We all know Jason Kelsey is a legend. Big V got a nice bag to go to Detroit. Steven Wisniewski, he stayed with us, and then I forgot who he went to directly after us. And then, of course, Lane Johnson is the only carryover from the line. But then now when you flip over to this 2024 unit that just monsters, they're the monsters of Space Jam, bro. Like, I don't understand how Jeff Stoutland can take Jordan Mailata, who is arguably the best left tackle in the league. He didn't play football at all, played rugby, was undrafted, and turned him into one of the best left tackles in the league. Obviously, we all know that we were very, very good at run blocking this year. Obviously, it was evident with Saquon Barkley with the 2,000 yards, but then also we were elite in pass blocking as well. Now, y'all thought that the 2017 team was big in stature and size. Get a load of this. Jordan Mailata is 6'8", 365. Landon Dickerson, 6'6", 333. Cam Jurgens, 6'3", 302. Mekhi Becton, 6'7", 364. And of course, Lane is the carryover, 6'6", 310. We legitimately have three people that are over 330, 2 people that's over 300 pounds. Now, when we used to always say we displace folks, 2024, bro, you see the holes just open up and wonder why Saquon is not getting touched 5, 6, 7 yards down the field. It's because of that. It's because your favorite word, because the hog mollies up front. It's plain and simple. It's plain and simple. Now, obviously, we have the best run blocking offense in the NFL. Mailata had a 94.9 run blocking grade. And then in pass blocking, Lane had an 85 and Mailata had a 90. So we're elite across the board. As you mentioned, they were recognized with the 4 Pro Bowlers. And then our line is so dominant and elite. We had people talking about maybe Madden should make a cover of the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line. That's how dominant this unit is. Yeah. That's how dominant this unit is. It's not like 2017 didn't have no players. They had players. We obviously named 3 or 4 Hall of Famers that's on that line. But just looking at this line over here, of course, in 2017, we have to remember that line was kind of older as well. Yeah,
it was.
You see what I'm saying? Here in 2024, the oldest person on our line is Lane Johnson. Legitimately, the oldest person on our line is Lane Johnson, and he said that he still has about 3 or 4 good years left in him. So when we do the math, we add it up, whether you want to plus, subtract, multiply, or divide, 2024 wins this battle. It was a close one, but 2024 definitely wins this battle because 2017, I mean, it was special with the depth. Again, 2017 wins with a lot of depth. Mm-hmm. But when you go pound for pound, skill for skill, player for player, star for star, 2024 wins this easily, man.
Nah, for sure. For sure. We in agreement there. All right, now moving on to this D line. So 2024, you got Nolan Smith, JC.
Looks, still looks, fires, complete, touchdown! Selleck inside the pylon.